welcome to Creative Mornings Cardiff. Cardiff, yay! What you might be thinking is, she doesn't sound like she's from Cardiff. What? And you'd be right, I'm from the northwest of England. Or if you play Xbox games, I'm an NPC. My name's Dani and I'm an animator. Lots of animators are here this morning, which is awesome, but the rest of you might be like, what the hell is that? Let me show you. This is my all-time favorite meme. I have stuck this picture up in every studio that will let me near my desk. My best favorite bit, look at the heartbreaking compliance. We've been there. So I want to talk to you today about treating life like a game, which I think I've learned the hard way, and it's the only way that I have learned to get through, just to make things just that little bit easier. A creative career can be pretty damning, right? And one of the things that I think I do quite a lot without realizing it at first, and then I was like, oh cool, I can spin this for my talk, is selecting my own character for the job. Now I've got quite a few versions of myself that I've been building up over the years. So I think probably Panic Dani is my true self, my one true self. Business Dani needs some work, but for today I think I'll choose Cartoon Dani because I just need a little bit of pep to get me through this because I'm a little bit nervous. So with that in mind, Cartoon Dani is selected, and I think that you guys all have the power to do this too. Like in life, we've probably got versions of ourselves we save for home or work or the bank or whatever. And that's the first way we can do this. So at the beginning of every game, you choose your character, which one's leveled up the most, which one have you been grinding, and you can do that in your lives too. So another reason why I'm the person speaking today, with the theme being game, is I've worked on some games. Woo! I'm qualified! I'm qualified to give this talk. Not only have I worked on some games, I've worked on a game you might have heard of called Grand Theft Auto. Maybe. Maybe you've played that. Maybe you don't know games, but you will have heard of Grand Theft Auto, right? That's a pretty cool game. It was actually my very first job out of university, which is sickening. Like no junior, no recent grad should be allowed to walk onto Grand Theft Auto. That's just gross, right? And I want to talk a little bit about it because back then I didn't have my characters built up, and it was super great. Like I love telling people in the bar that I worked on Grand Theft Auto. That was really cool. But it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to walk through. Like that, you know, like the learning curve was just a wall. And what is my next thing? Oh no, I've done this wrong. No, it's cool. Oh my god. Do you know what? Let's just crack on, because I've found a way we can swing back around to it. It's fine. So during my talk as well, like because of the theme's game, I've just so many levels to this. I wanted to play a game while we were doing it, and I know that you guys have got like the feedback, SCHMEEDBACK slips as well, and I'd love to hear yours at the end. But I've got some of my most ridiculous ones as well. And if you can guess whether the feedback is true or false, I'll tell you a secret about the industry or freelancing. So it's a bit spicy. So this one's my first one. Pigs rejected. And I'm a bit of a nerd. I've kept all my books from all my jobs that have got like my silly director feedback in and notes and stuff from every shot and every project, even Grand Theft Auto, which was like 11 years ago. I can't remember where this is from, but poor pigs. What? And like, thanks, director. Like, do you want to tell me why? Are they not pink enough? What do you want me to do with that? So I've got quite a lot of ridiculous feedback in my life that has just been cool. I'll just make something else up then. And I did the secret before I asked you whether you thought it was true or false. Let's pretend that you got it right. My first secret is fake it till you make it, which isn't really a secret. We've all heard that saying, right? Like we all know fake it till you make it. We've read it somewhere. It's in all the TED Talks, which I watched. But another way of reframing that is say yes and then learn later, and it's not really a lie. And this is how I'm going to bring it back around to Grand Theft Auto. I've got a plan, it's fine. So in my interview with Grand Theft Auto, I was fresh out of school and I had a ridiculous showreel of basically nothing, and they were looking at it in they made me show my showreel in the interview, which was it's awful. Just awful. I'm sat there like, what? It's like a year's work. And it was the worst. And they were like, oh, okay, do you know 3ds Max? I'm like, yeah, no. But they all look the same. Timeline, viewport, tools, right? And one of the questions which I remember forever was our frame count, our daily frame count per animator is 700 frames a day. That's the target we had to hit. That's what I was like. Back then, even now I can't work out how many seconds that is. So in games, 30 frames per second, 700 frames. I don't know, I can't work it out. I'm too nervous. But I said, that doesn't daunt me. Exact words. I remember those exact words because I ate them every day. I cried in the toilets at 11 a.m. every single day after my review. The entire time I worked on Grand Theft Auto, so it's not that glamorous. It was really hard. So fake it till you make it. Say yes, learn later. It worked because I left Grand Theft Auto with a showreel full of screaming prostitutes to my next job in children's TV. I have no idea how that happened. And there's only one way you can go, really, isn't there, with a showreel of screaming prostitutes? Thank God, though. Like, that's so cool that my boss saw past that and was like, yeah, okay. Just, like, get this wacky kid in. Like, we'll give her some lions. She'll be fine. And this really cracked my journey in like the Bristol animation scene. So like this was a Bristol company, and it was my first job as I went from animator on Grand Theft Auto to junior animator, and that's a big theme as well in my life. Like I am always going back and relearning the hard way. And then in Bristol, this is the weirdest thing. I went from children's TV, I'm in Bristol, I'm sort of cracking the scene. I'm doing a lot of this kind of thing, like in Bristol, like we have like talks and meetups and creative stuff, and I'm meeting people, and then sort of like finding out the right people to talk to, and I get a job on Aardman's, The Pirates and Adventure of Scientists. And my note for this slide, thanks Dani for explaining what I'm supposed to talk about, is just plus 10 ego. Thanks. Like, I'm riding like quite a cool wave. Like I'm still about like 24, 23 at this point. I've worked on Grand Theft Auto, I've worked in Kids TV, and now I'm at Aardman. And I didn't waste a second of it. Like I was walking around the studio pretending to take paper to another department so I could just go through the units and stuff and just see what all the animators were up to. I was a CG animator on Aardman, by the way, so like it's a little bit different. But the director of animation shared my office, so I, like every day I was like, oh, look at this animation I'm just working on at my dinner, and like, so that he would be like, oh yeah, leg's a bit shit. Thanks, Lloyd. So I could just soak that all in and never stop learning. And at this point, I am like career high. Things have been quite stressful for a few years though, and I'm like, it's just been too lucky at this point. Like, what's going on? This is pretty good. Am I talented? Do I have a good showreel? Am I just lucky? And I'm feeling this all day long. Like, this is really hard. I went back up to Manchester after Aardman, so there is a lot of moving around in animation. Like, there's not studios everywhere, which would be awesome, but they're not. And I worked on these games, which maybe you've heard of as well. Halo's a game, right? Like, I don't actually play games, so I was like, Halo, yeah. Until Dawn, I've forgotten the games I've worked on. I've worked on quite a few. There was one I had in my showreel. I did a talk at a university, and I was like, if anyone can tell me what this is, that'd be great. And someone was like, Wolfenstein. And I'm like, cool. I worked on Wolfenstein. I'll Google that later. But this sort of tallies up with like the stress of thinking, why am I getting these great projects? Why is this so good? And this is all in my head, but like you know, it's a battle, and I've written turn-based battle, thanks Dani. like a turn-based battle. Like, so every day, like I hit you and then you hit me kind of thing. And it's just constant, and I'm getting like more and more stressed and stuff. And it was at this point, like, I'm like, I didn't know it at the time, but I'm coming up to like a huge end of level boss. And I'm not too sure how much detail to go into. So I'm gonna go another round of feedback, SCHMEEDBACK. And if you get it right, maybe I will tell you what happened. Feedback? Do you think, like, have you got like coffee cups and stuff? If you like raise your coffee cups if you think it's feedback. So cool. Okay, that's quite, okay, that's pretty much. Anyone think it's SCHMEEDBACK? One guy. Cool. You are wrong, one guy. That is feedback. And it was in children's TV. Heidi Felland. I ripped that out of my book and I just stuck it. I just love it so much, Heidi's Felland. And it's so innocent when you know it was just a toy camel that had a bell on its neck. But it's not as funny as Heidi Felland. Cool, huh? Okay. So you guys were right. During my time in Manchester working on Halo 4 is like coincides with maybe my all-time biggest breakdown of my life. A lot of things were happening personally as well, but the job itself was really difficult, and for one really penis-shaped reason. And so the secret that I'm going to share with you, welcome to Jurassic Park. Dinosaurs do exist, and it is not your fault, okay? I had a really hard time with one of the studio runners there who was like my line manager, and there were not that many girls working on Halo at the time. There was maybe one other in the office, and we were sat very far apart. And it's really horrible to talk about because there is so much positivity right now about, like, especially with the whole Me Too movement and the time to change, but it kind of makes you feel like when you go online, everyone's like, oh, but games is changing, there's loads of female creators now, there's loads of females working all over games in any kind of roles, and it's really, really awesome. But it made my experience of this even worse, because I was like, oh, maybe it's not a thing then, and oh, it's just bants, and it's me, I'm the problem, and I should be like, well, it's changing. And I'm looking around this huge big studio, and I'm like, but there are 50 dudes. Maybe it's not just me. So this is just like such a turning point in my life that I realized, like, whoa, okay, this can happen, and it's not your fault. The day that I had, like, and is my next slide my death? Oh God, it's so sad, you guys. No HP. I'll tell you the story. I don't know if I have time, but I want to because it's like really important. My end boss, the big boss of this level, was a fucking fire alarm. A fire alarm went off, and I am sat at my desk thinking, I have 200 frames left. There is no chance I'm leaving my desk. I have to finish this shot. Because I was so stressed. Like, my heart was racing all day long, like super anxiety. You probably know what anxiety feels like. It's gross. And I'm sat at my desk like I'm not leaving. The room empties. Everyone's like, come on, Dani, the fire alarm. And I'm like, yeah, one second. I'll just finish these 200 frames somehow. And the fire marshals came and got me. And it's just all this so embarrassing thing. And by the time I got outside, finally, I'd cracked completely. And I was bawling my eyes out. And everyone's like, it's all right. You probably get your Hellboy back. It's probably no fire. And I'm like, it's not that. And then the fire brigade came because it wasn't a drill. But then we all went back in except me. I couldn't walk back in the building, and that is when I committed career suicide. I literally died. And I was sat outside the building like, I don't care that my toy Hellboy is on my desk. I'm getting the bus. And I got on the bus and got off the bus to shit in Asda, and then got back on the bus again. And then I got off the bus again to shit in Tesco's. And I wish I was joking. And then I got back on the bus, and I made it to my hometown, where my mum lives, and she took me straight to the doctors, and I got some really good hard drugs. So what happens in games when you die, though? right? Like, you get to continue. So I think at some point we all get to continue. There's like maybe 3 chances, or maybe you get a Phoenix Down. Do you know what a Phoenix Down is? 1 per, yes. Because I told you what it was. So you can continue? Yes or no? Sometimes you get 10-second countdown. But from where? Where's the last checkpoint? Is it the last save point? Sometimes it's the beginning of the boss battle again, like, fuck that. Or do you have to go right back to the beginning? And sometimes you do have to go right back to the beginning of a game. I had Fantastic Four on PS1. If you die on level 5, there's no save point. You have to go straight back to level 1. There's only 5 levels. Screw that game, it made me feel so stupid. It's only 13. This one was right back to the beginning. And I took these drugs and I laid in bed for 3 months. And I know that sounds, sometimes it's easy for people to say I laid in bed for 3 months and you've got nothing to, relate to it to, and you think like, oh well, cool, good that you had a bed for 3 months. I don't know if it was like obvious from that gift though. I also lost all my money. Okay, I didn't have time to animate it. I lost all my money. I lost all my friends. I lost all my pride. I lost all my ego. I was like, I've walked out of a job. The whole industry is going to know that I've walked out of a job, and I'm dead. And I had to think, what do I really want to do? Why do I feel like this? Is there something inside me that, can I get the fire back somehow? Oh, can I? Yay! So I took a continue, and at the time I was still applying for jobs in the 3 months and not getting them, like rejections. I've never had a rejection before. Like, you saw my career trajectory, it was pretty good, right? And I'm like, ow, that's what it feels like. And I didn't get them because I didn't want them. There was like definitely sending the wrong character in for the job, like I had to build something else up. This wasn't working. CG was very hard and very male dominated, and in me I was like, this never really felt quite right, and so I was sending the wrong character in. Side quests. Have you seen this meme? If gaming has taught me anything, this cat has a side quest. Follow the cat. And that's kind of what I did. I did some side quests for a bit. I moved back down to Bristol because I loved it. It was the last place that I loved myself, and I loved Bristol. And I slowly worked on taking online courses for different softwares. And when I really searched my soul, I felt like I was a 2D animator trapped in a 3D animator's body. Pretty lucky that it was still animation, right? Yay. And so I did a lot of side quests. I did skill set accredited like industry courses. Quite a lot of studios now will keep money rolling in when they don't have a project on by teaching software at their studios. So I did cell action here in Cardiff at a company called Clothcat Animation, and I did Spine, Moho, After Effects, everything I could get my hands on and afford and could get a discount on. I went and did a lot of side quests learning some software and like equipped myself with all those new skills. And then I went freelance. No! Melanie, make it come back. I found it. Sorry. Yeah, so I went freelance, not on purpose. It was a little bit by accident. I was like forced into it. I did the After Effects course. I don't know if you ever got any After Effects in here, but how are you? You're just never out of work, right? Everybody wants an After Effectser. They think you can just do everything, fix everything. It's kind of a, I do say quite a lot, like, learning After Effects was like the worst thing I ever did. But no, not for my rent. And learning After Effects got me, I had to go freelance because some company wanted me for 6 weeks, and I was like, cool, how do I get paid? Cool, right, I better learn all this. So like I just equipped myself with the skills of being a freelancer. And being a freelancer can feel like a big fight, but it's not. It's a fighting game, which there's a huge difference. And I moved to Cardiff for a really weird reason. For Firestorm Games. Do you guys know Firestorm Games? It's a big, massive dude gaming centre behind the station. I got into war games. Like, I don't look like a war gamer, but I got into war games. I moved to Cardiff for Firestorm Games, but Cardiff was awesome because I got loads of new contacts, loads of new friends. I managed to work on another feature film. I freelanced for Coscat Animations, which I've already mentioned. I started building up my portfolio with clients really, really slowly, like really excruciatingly, not rent-payingly slowly. But the best thing that happened to me in Cardiff was finding my squad. Like, I've never had a squad equipped. Like, during this whole time, I'm just this one character grinding away, getting my experience, getting my HP up, fighting bosses, but I'm all alone. And this is an RPG, yo, like, you need a squad. I googled, what the fuck do you do in Cardiff if you're an animator all alone? And I found Cardiff Animation Nights, run by Lauren Orme. Woo! And I attended and fell in love with it immediately, and I emailed Lauren that night and said, please, can we be friends? I'm not kidding. And now I'm wearing a fucking t-shirt. So I got myself a squad. I won some contacts and I won some clients, and Cardiff has been my home for 3 years, and I adore it. Feedback, SCHMEEDBACK! I think I've saved the best one till last. I love this one. Oh, fuck off. Wait a minute. Yay! And then, yay! It's even got dates on it. That's like a whole week. Do you want to tell me what's wrong with the lighting, or should I just keep putting lights in there? Do you guys think that's feedback or SCHMEEDBACK? It's really obvious. I think we've all had that. Have we worked for the same guy? Probably. Yay. So the last secret of my talk is not much of a secret, but listen to your gut, right? Like, if you're gonna die, have a really good think about why you died, and what you can do about it, and what was it that caused it. And I think it's really easy to get swept up in like this project or that project or this client, and then you look on your year and you're like, wow, I worked on a lot of things, but it wasn't right and I don't feel well. And if you check in with your gut, like normally your gut's right. There's a lot of alarm bell clients as well that like it can tell before I can. I'm like, I better charge weekly. Like, it's really clever. So I checked in, I found out that I really wasn't working where I wanted to work. I didn't really like games, sorry games. And I wanted to do 2D, and now I've been working as a 2D animator for 5 years, 3 of which are in Cardiff. And I adore it because I checked in and listened to what was the thing. Cool. This is also, I can't do a talk without showing this favorite GIF ever. You know, right? So something wasn't quite perfect. So I set up my own company. Fuck it. I've unlocked a new character. Business Dani. Cool. So now I'm gonna go try and grind that up. Like, that's my new character. I've unlocked it. I bought some new shoes. Yeah. I got some heeled brogues. I mean business. And Pickle Animation has come about because of Cardiff and who I've met here and what I've learned. And now we work on client projects with my squad, with Lauren. And it's really easy to set up a limited company. It costs £12, just do it. We'll figure it out when the end of the tax year, right? And also, come on, you GIF. Animated this too. We set up Cardiff Animation Festival together, which is why I'm here as well. Like, Cardiff Animation Festival is running for the first year this year. It's brand new. It's 4 days. We had the industry day yesterday and it was amazing. If you guys didn't hear about it, sucks to be you, because yesterday was so good. But you've got 3 days to get your act together and get over to Chapter and come and see what we've built in Cardiff and play with us, you know, because we're just so inspired by each other. We're so inspired by Cardiff, and we've put this all on just out of complete love. It's love, right? Because no, it's not. Yeah. And this comes back round to like, say yes first, learn later, because it can lead to like completely amazing things that you would never have predicted. And I am grossly unqualified to run an animation festival, but here I am. Your move, creep! So now I would love to play Feedback SCHMEEDBACK with you. I've got some really wacky, random, stupid prizes and some really cool prizes. So if you could, has anyone got any feedback? Like ridiculous, the more ridiculous the better. Like the most stupid client feedback you've ever, oh yeah, yep. And then this, I've just written an IOU on it because it's tickets, but I'll walk you through that. Has anyone got any ridiculous feedback? SCHMEEDBACK, go.
From Wales looking into Bristol.
Okay.
I was asked if I can turn the photo around so it would face into Wales.
Wow! That is the worst! Well, that beats mine. What did you do? Did you say?
It was physically impossible. I said you need to take another photo, but it's not how photos work.
I kind of want to ask who the client is, but like, no. Wow. No, can anyone top that? That's a really strong start. I feel like that is, anyone got anything that is as ridiculous? Any more ridiculous feedbacks? Come on, we're going to have one prize winner. I got a lot of prizes, guys.
This one kind of gave me mine.
Okay.
Not as good, but mine is, can we try them without nipples?
What were they?
It was a page 3 project. So I animated all these boobs and they were like, oh, it's a bit too sexual actually.
So they just removed the nipple?
No nipples, it's so weird.
Good one, yeah, brilliant. Anyone else?
I have a kind of similar one to that one.
No way.
I did a brochure for an abattoir, and like there was like a page of just like prize bulls, and a client fed back saying, "Can we please Photoshop out the bull's testicles?"
Did you have to spend time photoshopping out a bull's testicles? Can you not just put a black bar? Oh my God, clients. Yeah. I love that though because like it sort of makes it worse. Like I love making like, yeah, it's like it's like the beep track in animation. I love putting a beep over a swear word because it makes the swear word louder. You can still tell. Okay, that is amazing. Anyone else? We've got 4 prizes. I've got oh, I should pick really ridiculous prizes.
So you can
Well, yeah.
try some of them later.
Okay, cool.
So you choose your favourite.
Yeah. Well, you could choose a prize if you want, because that's really cool that you shouted out. You could choose the prize. Yeah, I don't have to make a decision. That's great. Oh yeah, you can choose it.
What?
Yeah. Thanks. I've been Binnykins. I really can't wait to sit down.